Good morning, dear student. Today we are going to learn a lesson, an astrologer's day. Before going to start a lesson, we should know who is the author of this story. He is a famous Indian English writer, R K Narayan, who born in 1906 and died in 2001. His full name is Rasipuram Krishnaswamy Iyer Narayan. He was one of the best known novelists among English writers. He is the author of 14 novels, 5 volumes of short stories, and had a number of travelogues. He also wrote his memoir, My Days, in 1975. He had also created the imaginary town of Malgudi, where realistic characters in a typically Indian setting lived amid unpredictable events. In olden times, Malgudi Days was a well known TV serial which is based on these short stories. His stories celebrated the humor, energy of ordinary life, and grounded in compassionate humanism, which means showing sympathy and concern for others. His stories are simple in style and subtle in humor. R K Narayan was introduced to American reader in 1952 by the Michigan State University Press. This included his work such as Swami and Friends, Bachelor of Arts, The Dark Room, Waiting for Mahatma, and The Guide, and many other books. The Guide is also famous novel on which picturized Hindi movie The Guide, for which he won the Sahitya Akademi Award in 1961. It is the most coveted literary honor in India. Coveted means here meaning desire, crave. Narayan typically portrays the peculiarities of human relationship and the ironies of Indian daily life. His style is graceful, marked by genial humor, elegance, and simplicity. An astrologer's day is the story of a person who predicate others' future and their characters. He is not true astrologer here who study the stars and who know the knowledge of cosmic wisdoms, but he is the falsy character here and telling other their stories what the people want to listen here. It is an interesting short story which creates curiosity in the mind of readers. But at the same time, astrologer is going through conflict about his deed, for which he blamed himself that he had murdered a man and run away. This story tried to eradicate blind faith among people about such a fraud astrologer, as well as giving us message that we must be responsible what we have and don't run away from our mistakes. Now see the first paragraph of the story. What happened there? Punctually at midday, the astrologer lays out his equipment and ready for the day. He has brought a dozen cowrie shells, means shells made by sea animal, mystically looking but unreadable charts, notebooks and other things. His forehead is painted with the sacred ash and he wears a saffron colored turban. The astrologer appearance in combination with his keen eyes and long beard give him an enigmatic and comforting appearance to attract customers. Here, writer vividly describes the way in which the astrologer's appearance and equipment lend him a supernatural presence apparently. And the description of him so compelling that it is easy to make others fool and showing he is a more than a man only. Now we are on the next page of the story. Here writer describes the marketplace where The astrologer is seated beneath a large tamarind tree near a road that leads through the town hall park. Around him, there is a marketplace with similarly fraudulent characters. Fraudulent means falsy characters, including an auctioneer of cheap clothes and a man who sells the same fried food every day but each day gives it a new luxurious name, such as Bombay ice cream, Delhi almond, etc. All the vendors are in the practice of overselling their own product. Both the cloth vendor and the food seller create the illusion of luxury, while the astrologer creates the illusion of wisdom and power. The astrologer transacted his business by the light of flare of nut vendor. The lights in the marketplace flicker and dance from dozens of sources. That's showing the marketplace lack of the benefit of municipal lighting, municipal facilities. So the lightning has created enchanting feeling, but it was suited to the astrologer that it concealed the fact that he is not true astrologer at all, and he could read the expression of his customer. When he began his life, he never intended to become an astrologer. He never aspired to become an astrologer. And he knew no more what was going to happen to his life as well as others. He was as innocent as his customer to know the stars, but he was good at judging people by practice. He told people the things that they want to listen, they want to hear. And really, it was very tough job to gauge the people's problem. So the author surprisingly interjects his labor is as honest as any others. Here author sympathizes with him by mentioning that he acts as a therapist. He listening to the problem of his customers and offering advice. Years before, the astrologer had to leave his home suddenly, without telling anyone and without preparation. If he had stayed, he would have been a farmer life, like his forefathers, working, marrying, and dying. Instead, he had fled 100 miles from villager and take up a new life. The astrologer has formed a working analysis of humanity's problems, being as they all relate to marriage, money, or human affairs. His perception became the sharpened because of the practice, so that within 5 minutes he could understand what was wrong with the person. He charged 3 pies per question. Pies here meaning currency, a very small former Indian coin. Someone comes to him, he first listens for 10 minutes before speaking, by which he got the points to speak. Sometimes his statements were vague but gave satisfying comfort to people, such as you are not getting the fullest result for your efforts, or is there a female who dislikes you? Or he gave analysis of character, example, you are impulsive nature but good inside. Because of this, people endeared him. At the day's end, the nut vendor, who is next to the astrologer, blows out his flare and goes home. Its meaning it is time for the astrologers to go home as well. Because in beginning I already mentioned it that he transacted his business on the light of flare of nut vendors. Means his business was depend on the nut vendors' light. So now there is no more light available to him which plays vital role in his business. As the astrologer was packing his equipment, a stranger come there. The astrologer summons him to sit down to make money off of him. The stranger resists. He was not ready to sit there. But the astrologer presses him. But astrologer forced him until finally the stranger steps to him and aggressively offer a challenge. The stranger offers a large amount skeptically, doubtfully, or disbelieving. Skeptically means doubtfully. That the astrologer cannot tell him anything worthwhile because he didn't believe on such things. So he was arguing with the astrologer, eventually raising the price and making a pact that astrologer would give him a double amount if he didn't satisfy the stranger. After their arguments, when strangers strike a match to light his cheroot means cigar with both ends, and the brief light of flame illuminates his face enough for the astrologer to see his identity. An astrologer identified the man. So he became very uncomfortable and trying to avoid the stranger, forgetting about the large amount also, and ready to leave. It's showing us that the astrologer knew the stranger very well and he didn't want to face him. But the stranger will not allow him, grabbing him by the arm and keeping him there, determined to expose the astrologer as a fraud or learn something useful. The astrologer, fearful now, tries several times to offer the same vague advice, which has satisfied other customers in the past. The stranger, however, was not becoming foolish like others' customer. The astrologer says a silent prayer and then changes tactic, revealing to the stranger that he knows that he was stabbed. Stabbed means someone thrust a knife to him and left him for dead some years ago. Stranger is now filled with enthusiasm, convinced that the astrologer must truly possess cosmic wisdom. The stranger believes that he has a supernatural knowledge. He inquires when he will be able to find the man who attacked him so that he may kill him. The astrologer replies that it will not be possible in this life because his attacker is already died several months ago in a different village. The stranger is disappointed at this news. However, the astrologers offer him some satisfactory by telling him that the man he seeks was crushed under a lorry and at least met a undignified end, very cruel end. The astrologer reveals that he knows the man's name is Guru Nayak as well, crediting his own omniscience. He wants Guru Nayak to return to his village and never travel this way again, or great harm will befall to him. Guru Nanak also recognized that now his attacker is dead. He has no more reason to wonder about. After then, Guru Nanak gives the astrologer a fistful of coins and leaves while the astrologer packs his equipments. And the last shafts of a green light was vanished. Astrologer reached home in the dark of midnight. His wife was waiting for him at the door and demanded an explanation. He flung the coin at her and cursing Nayak that he had paid him slightly less. His wife was happy with the coin, but she noticed that astrologer was worried. After a nice dinner, the astrologer confessed to his wife that long ago when he was teenager, he was the one who stuck a knife into Nayak and pushed him down the well and left him to die, and said that now he is feeling that a great weight has been lifted from him today because Guru Nayak is not murdered. His wife is shocked at the revelation that her husband once attempted murder, but the astrologer He was very intelligent and he dismissed his crime that it was stupidity of youth. In such a way, from that day, astrologer feels that he can sleep with a light heart now.